Thanks, Colm. Yeah, like Colm said, I'll be talking through product and consumer legislation. So we're moving from the sourcing end of the supply chain up to the product specific end. So we're going to talk about a few framework legislations, some sectoral specific and some product specific legislation as part of this. So it's important to note, first of all, that all of these different pieces of regulation come into force under the Circular Economy Action Plan, which is one key segment of the European Green Deal. So to start off with the Eco-Design for Sustainable Product Regulation, which is one of those framework pieces of legislation that we talked about earlier. This is a framework legislation that entered into force in 2024, but requirements will be applied on a product-by-product basis from 2027 as per the ESPR working plan. So textiles will be the first product group that will be tackled under the ESPR, requirements coming into that in 2027. So if you're interested in your specific product group, you should look at that working plan that was introduced in April of this year. So the aim of this regulation is to make products placed on the EU market more sustainable throughout their entire life cycle. And this is being done through setting minimum performance requirements and mandating certain information requirements with regards to each product. So the scope of this regulation, it applies in a horizontal way to all products that are placed on the EU market with product-specific requirements, as I said, according to the working plan. The implications of this will be that manufacturers will have to meet new sustainability requirements. So these performance requirements, so this can include durability requirements, life cycle requirements, repairability and disassembly requirements, provisions for energy efficiency and recyclability at the end of the product's lifespan. All of this is supported through the information requirements. So this has been introduced through a digital product passport. And what this looks like remains to be seen, as it will be set on a product by product basis, again, according to that ESPR working plan. Non-compliance, like Colm said, is quite costly. So products failing to meet the ESPR requirements may be denied market access, and enforcement through this will be done through market authorities, and penalties and market surveillance remains to be seen. The next piece of legislation then that we'll be talking about is the Green Claims and Empowering Consumers Directives. So these are two separate directives that work in tandem with the overall goal of banning greenwashing and misleading claims for products placed on the EU market. So the Empowering Consumers for the Green Transition Directive will outlaw and ban and prohibit any unfair commercial practices and misleading claims that will lead to greenwashing, while in tandem, the Green Claims Directive, which applies from 2027, will provide methodologies for how companies can make these claims and how they can back it up in a credible and verified way. So like we said, the aim of this is to ban misleading claims and unfair commercial practices and to substantiate how environmental claims can indeed be made. And these two pieces of legislation applies to all business to consumer environmental claims that are made voluntarily for products being placed on the EU market. So the implications of this will be that all companies will be required, with regard to the claims that they make, to provide clear, evidence-based and independently verified assessments where claims are made. So these must be done through substantiated methodologies that are outlined in the Green Claims Directive. Again, penalties for non-compliance are costly. They will be treated as an unfair commercial practice, and this will be enforced through consumer legislation and protection frameworks. So that's definitely one to keep an eye on for sure.